This is Nick Wilson from ProgrammExpress, sharing a short video on the user update experience for updating projects on a periodic basis. The process starts, I'm an administrator at the moment, the process starts with adding a project, depending on who's got access, probably not the user, probably the administrator or the PMO, by adding a project, and we'll call it project 1. Simple as that. And you can start to specify who the project manager is, the size of the project, the status of it, who the sponsor is, whatever's been configured, and click OK on that. Now what we'll see here, we've got a new project with lots of blanks within there. So that's a clean piece of paper, and we can start to enter commentary, plan, resources, costs, benefits, impacts, risks, and logs. I'm not going to show some of the functionality, just give a flavor. But these are all blank screens at the moment. Now what we can have is what we call templates, only visible to the administrator, and we call this a new project template, or whatever you want to call it. A couple of examples in here. The plan can be pre-populated. So the PMO might start off with, I want your key phases broken down into initiate through to implement, if it's specifically an IT project. I've also pre-populated the costs and the budget because I want you to record your costs by these 4 areas, which you can amend and change. So I'm now going to set up a new project under supply chain, and I'm going to call that project 2. And I'm going to use a template. Now these are configured, and we're going to use the new project template. So it automatically pre-populates some of the screens, and you can in fact pre-populate all of them. Now we're going to work on project 2. Now as the administrator or the PMO, I'm going to need to go to user access, and I'm going to have to say that Nick Wilson, that's me, already been given read access to the program, but now here I have write access to that project, so I've got read and write access to it. What that means is when I log on, and I will have a filtered view compared to the administrator, I will only see what I've been given read or write access to. So I'm logging on, same home screen. So one thing that you will see is that we only have 5 modules here to update. There are 3 or 4 extra modules. So you can filter out modules by user access roles. I've been given read access to everything, actually. And I've been given write access to just a few projects. So you'll see here that I've been given write access to project 2, which is what we've just set up. And I'll be expected to then go through the details screen, finish the pre-population, who the project manager is, the status, priority, who the sponsor is, stakeholder, etc. And these are configured. So these are just examples on a demo. So I've done that bit, then I'll go through to my commentary, and I can go either from the home screen through the commentary, plan, resources, risks and logs, or I can use the update tab. I'll use the update tab. I go to my comments. I'll write a comment about the project, the overall status. I'll just call it overall status. I'll decide what RAG status it has, red, amber or green. I'll say it's amber. Click save, and I can go through all of these, have auto RAG tolerances, the plan, resources, cost, benefits, etc. And they will automatically be populated with a red, amber, green status, depending on the data that sits within the system. I've got other commentary threads, achieved last period, last week, focus for next period, next week, decisions and escalations, big issue to discuss. When I've saved that, the most frequently used commentary threads will go to the top. When I want to make another update, I'll put overall status again, and whatever you've put in as your latest comment will appear on here. But now we're seeing we're building an audit trail. I've got overall status and overall status again, and it says who and when said anything, and it will be the same with all the other commentary threads. Moving through to the plan, and I might toggle between some projects that are already pre-populated on this one. But you'll see here, if I'm starting from scratch, I've got all these phases and I'm expected to update them. So I'll go into my dates and I'll say this starts February the 3rd and finishes February 4th. And this starts on the 10th and finishes on the 11th. And if I save, you'll automatically see that one is red because it's missed today's date. Now what will happen in reality is that the plan will be changed and moved, and I'll say, okay, well that's now going to slip to a later date. I probably won't do it this way. What I'll do is I will adjust the first one and I'll say the updated, it will start on the 10th of Feb, the 11th, and I'll apply any change to subsequent tasks. Click OK, and then it automatically, like Microsoft Project, will move the dates. Now that's telling us it has an amber status. Why? Because the original date has now slipped, and that's how we start to log whether a plan has moved from the original baseline date. You'll see here I can go further down into an already pre-populated project like warehouse management system. It's easier to see it with a pre-populated plan. You'll see these are all amber, and we'll notice again here that the dates exceed the original baseline date. Now what I can do is, if I have the right level of access and everybody's agreed within the governance or the steering committee, what I can then do is re-baseline. But actually I can't. You'll see it's grayed out because I'm the user, and that will be down to the PMO or the administrator to do it. So if I went back as an administrator, I won't do it for this exercise. We could reset and re-baseline all of that. So back to the home screen, back to project 2. I've set a couple of dates, already offending, and it says that more than 20% of key milestones are late. So actually you'll see on the home screen that it's already turned the project red in terms of the plan. But project 2 you'll see is already red. I'll go back into it. And from there we've now started to develop a plan. What we can do if we want to, we can break it down into phases. Within initiate, and I can add. I won't add any data, and you'll see we can take it down another level. We can't take it down more than 2 levels, and what we suggest is ProgrammExpress works very well for people who don't have a specific way of managing a plan or use Excel. If people use Microsoft Project, we suggest they carry on doing so if it's a very complicated project plan, and just update key milestones within ProgrammExpress. If I want to delete those steps, I can do so. Takes us back, and then because I've now started to have a plan within there, I can now allocate resources. Now easier showing with resources, one that's we've already got pre-populated. I'm going to go down to warehouse management system. It shows red there, it means it's already over allocated in terms of resources. If I want to add a resource, I will add, let's say, Kathy Evans, and the skill can be any skill that we've set up, but in this case project management, 2 days a week on that specific project, and we can assign that to the total project, the planned tasks, or specific dates. So in terms of planned tasks, I can assign that to the analysis phase. It will pre-populate those dates such that if the plan changes, then the resource will automatically move with it. Click OK. I've now allocated Kathy to work on that project. Now I'll keep moving through the update tabs We'll go to risks. I'm now working on a pre-populated system. You'll see risks, who raised it, created, review and due, the likelihood and impact, and depending on the matrix that's been set up in the configuration, whether it's likelihood and impact of 3 by 3 or 1 by 3 will depend on its reg status. So I'll very quickly add a risk, and it pre-populates it with a risk reference number, call it XXX, YY, created today, and that is big risk, and the mitigating action is to do that by AN other. Click save. Quite simply, I've now added that risk. Once the risk has been mitigated, I can click mitigated, and on the reports it will show open and mitigated risks. Very straightforward to do. Moving to our logs. Now the logs, depending on the configuration of the demo system, we have here issues, actions, decisions, lessons learned, scope change, change request. So these are configurable by each client and by each database. But if I wanted to add a new action, AAA, BB, created, review, I can give it a RAG status just to highlight the priority of this action, and then whatever the mitigating action is, and again, who is it. What I can do against an action or a decision or a risk, I can start to build new sort of mitigating actions against that if I so wish. I'll delete that, save it, and then we've moved through all of the different phases, very high level, I know. I don't want to turn it into a training exercise, but just to give you a flavour. And then also, if we want to add a document, we can do. Go into documents, and we'll see here that we have templates which can be pre-populated within the configuration. So if you've got PIDs or business case templates or comms strategy templates, you can add at the top level, and it will appear for the project manager to be able to go and open, and whatever it is, in this case it'd be a Word document, I can open that. That's my template that I can use for a PID or a business case. Or I might want to add a specific document to this project, to the warehouse management system project. I'll call it doc, description, doc, visible to small, medium and large. I cannot go into that extra piece of functionality at the moment, take too much time. I can choose a file, and then I can go into anything, and let's take this PowerPoint. Click, open, OK. File's too big. We've got a maximum size of 2 meg, which we can change. Choose another file. Like I say, it can be anything. So I'm going to choose that PDF. Doesn't matter what it is. Uploaded successfully. I've now added documents which are now visible for other people to view, and you've also got templates that you can take away and populate and then repopulate as live documents within the document screen of your specific project. Now, when I've made the changes, it will be probable that I'll want to run some reports. So I can either run project reports. Let me run a one-page overview. So here's what we call a one-page overview, which could be used with the project team, where we are with the project, and then we've got our risks and logs, actions, decisions, lessons learned, etc. And we can have a look at what that might look like on a one-page summary. Different project report. Drops down nicely into a PowerPoint. You'll see our key phases there and our commentary threads within there. It might be that you want to have a look at the resourcing against your project, the people that you know about. Let me say IT, for example. I'm the program manager, and I can run a resource report to have a look at it. It actually says that I'm red. So I can go to the resource usage summary, and it will tell us on this report who the resources are specifically within my portfolio, but whether they are also allocated within other portfolios, because obviously it's relevant if it's shared resource. So it might be okay for me, but actually on my program, but they're actually allocated elsewhere. What you could also do though is you could go into your resource report. So the ones on the home screen are just pre-canned, but we've got lots of other different types of reports here. I could go to that saved report. I could go to resource usage summary, and I could actually go within there and have for this portfolio only. So I just want to see how the resources look against the IT program. So it's telling me whether I'm okay, and I'm still not. I've got one person here who's over allocated, and specifically they're over allocated if I open it up, because we've asked them to work more than 1 day a week, and that's all that they are available. So within that month, I think if I expand that, it says 6 days, and we're only making them available 1 day a month or a week for specific projects. So this is just giving you a flavour of the user experience from an update perspective. Now, what we rely on here is good PMO governance. So we won't be sending out alerts that you're over allocated on resources or that your project needs updating. There should be a PMO governance process sitting behind it, so that you can either keep your projects up to date in real time to work within your own project team, but have specific dates that you're working to, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, for the more portfolio PMO reports that would go out to the business, i.e. the RAG status summary report. Which looks like this. So these are the types of reports that will be going out periodically, and you're expected to populate information to make that available. So you'll see here, project 2 is the one that we've created, and you'll see here some of the commentary threads that we've added just now within there. That's a very quick snapshot as to the user experience, both from an administrator setting up the project and the user updating the project. I don't want to turn it into a 1.5 hour training exercise, so not a massive amount of information there, but hopefully that helps, and thanks for listening.